Hey everybody, Hunter back again from Showtime Studios. This is going to be one of the first videos that I've actually redone as far as the tutorial, and this is going to be on decanting paint from just a standard, run-of-the-mill spray can. This happens to be a Duplicolor can, and I think it's gold or something like that in here. And we're going to be doing this. You can do it one of two ways. You can decant directly into your airbrush cup if you want to. But what we're going to be doing, since I'm doing a tutorial, instead of getting paint in the airbrush and have to clean it all out, we're going to skip that. But you can do it right into the airbrush, so that's also an option. But what we're going to be using is a bottle that I have left over here. And I keep all these empty bottles. This happens to be Tamiya Extra Thin cement bottle. And I keep all of my Tamiya paint bottles, the small jars, and get them cleaned out. They come in real handy for doing this. So if you're doing like a body or something like that and you want a fair amount of the paint out of the can, it's always a good idea to get yourself an extra bottle like this. And then you can decant a bunch of paint and you'll have plenty to... if you need to do a second or third spraying on the car or, whatever body you're doing, you'll have plenty of paint to do that with, and you don't have to stop and decant it again. And then if you have a cap and everything for this, you can seal it up and you're good to go. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to go about decanting paint without having all of the overspray and the big mess that... I remember back when I first started doing it, I had one heck of a mess. I had more paint on me than I did anywhere else. And I've heard there's some other people that's had that same problem. So I'm going to show you a very simple trick to not making a mess with it. And what we're going to be using, like I say, is the Duplicolor paint. We're going to be using this empty jar here. And we're going to be using a piece of styrene tubing. And this happens to be 5/16 Plastruck tubing. And I cut it in about a 6-inch length, something like that. If you want to go longer, that's fine. It actually will work a little bit better the longer this tube is. You can do this with an aluminum tube or anything like that. I do not recommend doing it with a straw unless it's one of the bigger diameter straws. And the reason for that is as the pressure blows through the tube from up here down to here, it will tend, if you have too small of a diameter, you can't really split the air pressure that's coming out of the can and allowing the paint to drop out the bottom at the same time. It kind of just wants to create almost like a funnel effect on the can, something like when you put the little tube on there for like WD-40 or something like that. That's basically the effect that you get. So what we're going to do is... show you a quick and simple way to do this. So basically, I'm not going to turn the booth on. Normally I do that, but you just want to take the tube that you have cut and put it on the nozzle. And I've already shaken this up pretty good before we started the video. And what you want to do is get the tube over top of your jar. You'll notice that it's in line with the jar, but you want to make sure that the top of the tube is past the jar. And what it's going to do is when I push the trigger down on the spray can, it's going to blow the mist past the end of the jar. And hopefully I picked that up on video. I'm not actually looking at the video to see if it did that. But you can see the paint drop out of the bottom of the tube there. And the overspray goes over top of the jar and just goes out through the spray booth. So that's what you're after. You don't want to hold the tube down in here and push the trigger down, because what's going to happen is it's going to blow the paint back up out of here. You want to hold it up above the jar and just do that right there and let it drain into the jar, and that's all there is to it. Like I say, it's a very simple process to do, and this tube helps out a lot. The bigger diameter that you can get, the better off you're going to be. It doesn't have to be 5/16. It could be 1/2 inch. It could be 3/4. It could be a piece of even copper pipe or something like that. Anything that is not too much bigger than whatever the opening that you're trying to get the paint to go into. Now, the other thing with decanting paint also that a lot of people don't realize is when you do this, you don't want to take this and put it directly into your airbrush and start using it. If you want to decant it into the airbrush, that's fine, but make sure that you let it set a while and do what they call gas out. And that's going to be the propellants and everything that's mixed in with this paint that you want to get out of the paint before you start spraying it on your model. If I was to put a cap on this right now, on this jar, and shake this up, when I took the cap off of it, it would pretty much explode. It creates a lot of pressure. So what you want to do is leave this set. Some paints you can let them gas out in about 15 minutes. Some paints it'll take up to an hour to do. I have done it with the Tamiya paints, and I can get those to gas out in roughly about a half an hour. So if you're using Tamiya out of a can into a jar, give it about a half an hour and you should be good to go. But watch how much that you actually shake the airbrush around once you put the cap on it, because it will tend to blow the paint. If it's not gassed out enough, it'll tend to blow the paint out of the air hole that's in the top of your cap. So just be prepared for that. You may make some mistakes and jump the gun a little bit from time to time until you get the hang of it. But this is a quick and easy way to do it. So hopefully, like I say, this is an updated video. I did one, it's probably been about a year ago, so I decided to delete that one and redo this video. And if you have any questions or concerns, or need a little bit more information on this process, leave me a comment on the video. I'll be more than glad to get back to you and answer your questions. And that's all we've got for this one. So like always, thank you for watching and supporting Showtime Studios, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.